Welcome to the third episode of Indian MMA Origin Stories, which is an interview series through which we at Locker Room try to cover the origin stories of Indian MMA gyms, fight teams, promotions, events, and whatnot. This is Ranjit Ravindran here, and in the third episode, we will be featuring Jitesh, who is the head coach of Indian Combat Sports Academy. Here is his story.
How did it all start for you and the team?
Uh, the thing is,
Mhm,
I was actually, a lot of people don't know, I was into
mhm,
kickboxing. I would not
mhm,
call myself as a very successful athlete, but
mhm,
did my level best and all that. And at that at that point of a time where I was competing, there was nothing called pro, and
mhm,
there was nothing called I've never got sponsorship and all that, anything. I was
mhm,
just, and I come from a very humble family, to be very frank. So when I was fighting, there was always a money issue because my dad expired when I was very young and all that. So I used to work as a watchman. I used to work in loading, unloading. I used to work as uh, painting. I used to work in like, what do you say? शादियों में खाना डालते हैं and all that. So all
Ha,
that. Yeah. So all that, everything you tell, I've worked. I have not begged or something, but I've done all the work, and it was not like when I'm saying, "Arey, it is a very sad story." Actually, to be very frank, I was just having fun over there. Also, I don't know. It was nothing like sad story or something. I was just doing it because if I want to go and compete somewhere or play or something, chalo aaj, I'll go and paint this house. Or I had a watchman job also. It was the daytime and the because I was playing, so my boss was very supportive of it. So I'll whole day, and it was a very tiring job because that company was into sending people into like Dubai, France, and all that. So a
Dubai.
lot of people will come, and I had to push, and all a lot of stuff was there. So, and loading and unloading was something which was like, one of my friends' father was like, he had a transport business. So I'll say, okay, I'll also go. For me, it was like a trip, but to be very frank, my goal was to earn money over there also. So I'll get 400, 500 rupees, something, I'll do it. And also, whole my whole my career of training, I was like, one side I'll go by like bus, and one side after 11 o'clock, I'll walk for like almost 45 minutes, 1 minute, 1 hour, I'll walk. So that was the issue of the money actually, but still I was doing it because I love the game, to be very frank. It We had no idea that that there will be pro or something. It was just
Mhm,
passion, and to be very frank, if you get injured, that is one more scene you don't have money for your
mhm.
anything, any of the thing. So that was the thing, and I got into a little bit of problem with the association guys, and
So
it still
before that, which year was this?
I started at the age of 15 to 16. So I
Uh-huh.
think at the age of 20, 21 or some 22 or something, I just 2009 was my last fight. 2009.
Okay, okay.
So
So
yeah.
this was
So
before 2009.
yeah, all this is before 2009, and I was young actually, but yeah. So I was just doing all this thing. Then I came to Bangalore because I got
Mhm.
into some problem with some association guys. I think association and me, it never works usually. So
This was
they
kickboxing or which sport association actually?
it was that was kickboxing. That was kickboxing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So then I came to Bangalore. My mom and one of my friend, he he said, okay, you go from here and just get out of this kickboxing thing and just do something else. So I came to Bangalore. 2.5 years I was in Bangalore. I came here to complete my MBA.
Mhm.
Drank, did everything which I didn't do, and it was damn fun. And then suddenly one day I see SFL,
Mhm.
and I'm thinking, what are these guys doing? They're beating each other down and all that. And then I saw what is MMA, and I didn't know BJJ at all. I was thinking, okay, ground पे जाएंगे तो उधर भी मारना ही है, just
Uh-huh.
मारना है बस. So that was the whole concept. Then I started searching for kickboxing. To be very frank, kickboxing only.
Mhm.
I found out in Bangalore. I went and visited a lot of people, and I never told them that I've done before. Usually,
Mhm.
if any fighter come, he does two classes also. He'll say, "Oh, I've trained before." I never told it because I have competed and all that. I saw majority of the guys are fake over here.
Mhm.
So then I ended up in Indian Combat Sports Academy when that time it was run by Rama Reddy,
Uh-huh.
the
Uh-huh.
purple guy, yeah, the purple and Elliot. So I came here for the first day and I saw people in sitting in guard, and that was the most gauge thing I saw in my life. I didn't understand what these guys are doing inside the guard. And the first day, I don't know, Rama made me spar. On the second day with a couple of African, we had African fighters actually in ICSA.
Yeah.
So he made me do wrestling. He, like, those guys slammed me. Second day, I took my revenge because I wore the gloves and I smashed them. Even though of 2 years I didn't do anything, but I actually smashed those guys very, very bad. So that was the journey where I started. Then what happened? Rama shifted to like one other club. So then he told to me, and there's one of my partner. So he took over. My partner took over actually. Then like, he was not from this sport. He was from a fitness background. So then I got into it because I was into this. So then we started. It was going on, and after that, uh, it just I to be very frank, I started coaching because I needed sparring partners. But then at one point, one fine time, I had to make a decision that either I am doing it or either under me 5 people are doing it. Because if I train, I'm not able to focus. That's for sure. No fighter can be a good coach. He has to retire. He cannot be active. It's very, it cannot, you cannot manage. It's impossible. So then slowly I got out of the game, and then I got into full time coaching. And this is something which I like. For me, it is always something which I couldn't do it. I want people to do it. That's what it is. And suddenly one day I see, okay, I'm I'm here with so many good fighters, and I'm like doing so good without any. ICSA never had any foreign instructor and all that, because usually all the gyms in the country, they have like some purple belt, black belt, and all that coming up. We do not do that at all because of various reasons actually. So, but still in BJJ, I think everyone has seen our performance. So this is how I got into ICSA, and yeah, today I'm a coach. It just happened actually. It was nothing planned actually.
So when you went to ICSA initially, when Rama was there, did you have any other job, or were you pursuing your MBA only?
No, no, no. After finishing my MBA, I was working as an HR, and actually, to be very frank, at that age, I was earning extremely well, actually. And to be very frank, I was for that age, I was earning 44,000 rupees, and I left that job, and I was in ICS. I was cleaning toilets. To be very frank, like, I was cleaning toilets, and when Rama left, I was promised a stipend of 4,000 rupees. No one supported me. My friends, my family, my mom was like, she kind of always says, "Tu kisme bhi haath lagayega, wo sona ban jata hai." So she was like hesitant, like, you did MBA and all that, and you're gonna do this. I told her lies that, अरे ये business बड़ा होगा. MBA लोग business करते हैं, काम नहीं करते. I told her, and I couldn't do this. And slowly she thought that I'm competing again. So she never thought I'm coaching. She said competing. Then slowly, all the posts are like other guys are fighting, and she is asking, "तू क्यों नहीं खेल रहा? तू क्यों नहीं खेल रहा?" And suddenly my nose is not broken, nothing is broken, everything was fine. And suddenly she is watching some videos where I'm holding guys and all that. She is like, "क्या कर रहा है? What is this?" She has seen kickboxing, but she has not seen grappling and all that. So I had to explain that I've become a coach, and she was initially very worried because when you usually when you say coach, a coach is a very old guy, probably 45, 50. She was telling, "तू कैसे coach बन सकता है?" I told, I don't know, but the thing is, I'm teaching and teaching and teaching. And as a coach, I can tell you one thing that, for example, when I'm striking, I'm an orthodox, and I have one concept of fighting because I used to use a lot of in and out. I hope you know in and out concepts of fighting.
Yes, yes.
So I used to use a lot of in and out concepts and a little bit of angling. But when I started training people's, right, for example, one of my first fighter was a southpaw. It was completely like different for me. But the whole concept, and usually I've seen a lot of coaches, they check on internet and they do it and all that. I hate internet. See, it's not like that I don't refer internet. I do refer internet, but to be very frank, I like to see what is happening. And every fighter of mine, they know it. When I see a fighter, I work specifically on him. It's like if I'm working on something, I will work on him. I'll not work on other guys. So it is like specific. I usually work specific. So this is how it is.
Okay, so what was the initial challenges that you faced when you took up from Rama? Like, were there any constraints from your side?
Uh, there was like a lot of monetary issue was there, but to be
Mm-hmm.
very frank, when you're young, you don't have responsibility. It worked out,
Mm-hmm.
and I think monetary benefit was the biggest challenge because to be very frank, I was getting up in the morning and the evening. The only thing was I was looking forward to meet my team. That was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, to be very frank, I would say if you ask me like very honestly, I never felt that was a challenge. I actually enjoyed the
Mm-hmm.
whole process. It was
Mm-hmm.
like from this like for example when I was earning good, um, so you can have a lot of things. You can go to party. You can. I'll be dying in this pub, this, the here, there, and all
Mm-hmm.
that. At some time when I saw that SFL thing, I was thinking already. I started thinking, what am I doing in my life? Like, I'm drinking, I'm doing this, and all friends and all that. And you somewhere know that. Like, I think I'm 33, so I can say that
Mm-hmm.
because as a you lose a lot of friends and all that. You understand? Okay, okay. Before
Yes.
when you are like 22, 23, or a friendship, people go and you get a lot of backstabbing. You learn your lesson. So I started learning a little bit early. Then I was like, what am I doing? And I don't know. I just enjoyed the process. I would never say I didn't enjoy. To be very frank, from my kickboxing career till now, I enjoyed the process, and I still enjoy the process. Now, the thing is, the toughest part is now because there's a lot of pressure now because people are
Mm-hmm.
expecting us to win in BJJ, in kickboxing, and MMA. So, like recently, we lost, like Shamanand lost the fight. The
Mm-hmm.
amount of critics giving us
Mm-hmm.
comments and telling us and all that. So, to be very frank, it's whenever someone says something, I really get motivated. I never show it. I'll keep it inside,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes me so angry that it doesn't die off. So I think we'll come back hard, 100%. But there were a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Reason because in 2000, like 18 and 19 complete, a lot of turmoil was going on inside the team. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things happened. Like I didn't go to the gym for 3 months because there
Mm-hmm.
were a lot of issues in the team and all that. So that got sorted out, and when it got sorted out, we got MFN. And to be very frank, in MFN, when Srikanth got MFN fine again, Rajendra Singh Mina, I told Srikanth that can you just not take this fight? And Srikanth was like, no, this like like Tiger Sharaf hai, like
Mm-hmm.
this is so big and all that. We need to. Then I was like, I didn't know what to do because we are not in form. We are in our like no one is training.
Mm-hmm.
Satya Behavior was in from my
Yes.
team. He was thrown out of the team. Anjan was thrown out of the team. Two of my main grapplers were not in the team. It was a very bad condition. I was drinking heavily. I was not coming to the gym. I was like I was in a very bad state actually mentally. I was fighting with everyone, my loved one. I had bad relationship with everyone actually because my team was broken because of few reasons actually. They were thrown out of the team. So a lot of this thing happened, and but Rajendra Singh Meena we took, and for us it was I told Srikanth, okay, yahi karna hai. So we jumped and we took him and finished. But to be very frank, I would like to share on this platform that none of our MFN fight, none of the fight is like Clinton fought one, Srikanth fought two, of
Mm-hmm.
course Shaman won. I'm not satisfied with one fight because this is not how we fight. People think that
Mm-hmm.
is our standard. That is not our standard. Like I don't know if you look at our amateur fight, that was much better to be very frank,
Mm-hmm.
and it was never a performance to be very frank. I would not say we are back. We are still working, and this COVID thing happened, and again we have fallen down. But MFN fights are not something which I would proudly say that's how we fight. It's not the thing. So the best has to still come for us.
Okay, so now coming to your team, who was the first fighter that came in for ICS?
First fighter,
That came into the team.
I actually, to be very frank, every fighter in my team is built from the grassroots. Like Clinton
Mm-hmm.
started walking in my team. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I have no. See, to be very frank, the first fighter to walk into our team, like already the guy has fought experienced
Uh-huh.
guys, you're saying. The first was Shrikant.
Uh-huh.
Shrikant. So I didn't know that Shrikant was a pro fighter at all. None of us in the gym knew. He came one day, he sparred.
Hmm.
He told that I've done grappling, striking, and all that. So he came and he did training. And to be very frank, when you look at him, you didn't even understand that he has trained. He had no ego of nothing. So
Hmm.
he just became our team. Then we came to know that he has fought SFL. And I
SFL.
told him, बताया क्यों नहीं? So because I am very hesitant of taking experienced fighter, I do not want
Hmm.
experienced fighter at all. So that was the one guy. Second guy to walk in the team who was experienced was Shamanand. Shamanand had
Hmm.
fought wushu fights, couple of wushu fight, had a
Hmm.
bad record to be very frank. But this guy had done all Bharat Yatra. He has gone to all the gym. Like all my rival gym, he has gone there. He has trained and all that. So he came and he settled there. To be very frank, even I didn't know that, but he was a wushu fighter. When he came, he had little bit idea and all that. That's the thing. I started taking fighters. The first fighter whom I knew and I purposely took was Bala Shetty. That was
Uh-huh.
the first guy. Why I took Bala Shetty is because, to be very frank, I really consider Bala as a legend. Okay, people
Hmm.
have not given him credit for what he owns. Like people say, "Arey Hara" and all that. It really doesn't matter. You're expecting the first Indian fighter to become Fedor or what? That's not how it works. He cracked it. You have to see his kickboxing record. You have to see his. He has developed a
Muay
very good strength. Yeah, he has developed
Hmm.
extremely good strikers. Actually, you should check
Hmm.
out his strikers. They are very good. But Bala being Bala, his like what do you say? Because the fighters went here and there, and yes, you take a guy named in Mumbai, and that guy has definitely trained under Bala. That's how good
Hmm.
he is. He is busy with association and all that stuff. So Bala was the first guy to get in. So when Bala got in, then after that, Kantaraj and me, we had like 3 or 4 conversation where I
Hmm.
was not interested to take Kantaraj initially. Why is because he was associated with couple of people whom I'm not comfortable with, because
Hmm.
these are the people who are challenging, especially Clinton. And Clinton
Hmm.
is some of the guy who is very close to me, and people have no idea what kind of a level of a fighter he is. People have no idea. They saw that MFN fight, which is shitty actually. And but if you
Hmm.
notice one thing about that fight, you see these fighters, all these fighters, they are fighting for 3 rounds. They're getting
Hmm.
decision win and they're celebrating. They're jumping of happiness. They're doing
Hmm.
all this show. This guy is finishing the fight and sitting in depression over there. So people are so dumb enough not to recognize that. But that's Clinton. He is depressed because he couldn't finish the fight in 1 minute. He didn't even
Hmm.
celebrate a little bit also. He's not happy. And Kapil Kumar was not a small fighter. He was in South Asian
Huh.
ranking. He was ranked sixth that time. He was a great, good fighter, and he lost twice actually. So people just think he's not good, but this is what it is. It just this is what it is. So yeah, then Kantaraj came in. When Kantaraj came in, actually there is a story actually when Kantaraj came in. So when Kantaraj
Huh.
3 4 times it didn't work out. Fourth time, uh, Kantaraj met me somewhere. I don't remember where. Yeah, somewhere he met me and he said he's retiring. It
Huh.
hit me. Actually, it hit me like anything. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like you are the one who has to go so ahead because you are right now the flag bearer of MMA. That you are the pound to pound number one. How can you quit? So I didn't say anything, but I came to the team, and that night actually I think me and Clinton, we were like, we drink once in a month. So I was drinking and I told Clinton, like, this is the thing and all that. Clinton, Ajay, we usually sit.
Hmm.
So he told that, you should not let a legend like that guy to die. You need to
Hmm.
pull him up. And to be very frank, deep inside, that was the only constraint I had, because I have Clinton. Because so many people were challenging. Clinton versus Kantaraj everywhere. And we were actually
Hmm.
mentally ready for that. But when I met Kantaraj, there was nothing from him. Like he didn't even know
Hmm.
that this was happening. And to be very frank, he took a couple of names. Then he also understood this guy is doing and all that. Then it was very clear. Then he came in. Now, like he's a part of the team. Like he is a part of the team now, Kantaraj. And Kantaraj, because of Kantaraj, he told me about Manjit Kolekar. So
Huh.
I said, okay, let her come, let her come. I'm not promising now. You will
Hmm.
tell, because I know Kantaraj has huge connection in
Hmm.
MMA. I cannot take everyone.
Hmm.
Then Manjit came in. Manjit came in. She's an extremely sweet girl, and we took her also. Then after Manjit, I think who else came? Yeah, Yadvinder Singh.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
met him in Delhi. So this guy also had a little bit chatting on Facebook and all that. So he came, and this guy is also retired from 2 years. And he's like, he's telling that bhai, training nahi ho raha and all that. And to be very frank, I always considered like if you remove my team, I always consider
Mhm.
three name to be the top of MMA in India:
Mhm.
Kantraj, Chaitanya Gavli, and Yadvinder Singh. These are the three guys for me. For me, they're the
Mhm.
top. There will be a lot of other guys. They have fought in here and there and all that.
Mhm.
No disrespect to that, but this is my personal choice. Or else a lot of people get
Mhm.
offended very easily in India.
Mhm.
But for me, Chaitanya, Yad, and Kantraj. So this Yad and Chaitanya is almost like, I don't know. He's not active. I told him so many
Mhm.
times. He has some issues actually. Something happened. So Yad went out. Kantraj. So now who is the guy for Indian MMA? There's no one.
Mhm.
So then Yad, actually I said okay. Yad also joined our team, but then this COVID thing happened again. He had to go back and all that. So yeah. So now I think on paper we are a very star-studded team. But
Okay.
I before I take them, I just usually do a lot of research about every one of them. So that's my habit.
So Clinton's story you did not tell. Like, how did Clinton come to you?
Okay, I don't know I should say this, but Clinton first day, he doesn't agree. Okay, he doesn't agree, but
Mhm.
you can cross check the story with Ajay. So he first day he comes to the gym and he joins ICSA just because he wanted six pack. He's like
Mhm.
six pack आएगा क्या? So wannabe Conor McGregor. That time there was no Conor McGregor, but he was a wannabe Conor McGregor. And this guy comes to the team and he trains and all that. The guy, initially if you see Clinton's face, his face is something like you will hate. Like he's
Mhm.
not, you hate some guy's face naturally, something like that. Clinton has some vibe. But the guy used to work in call center at night shift.
Mhm.
He used to log out at 4:35, sleep for
Mhm.
half an hour or 1 hour. Again, he will travel and train. And he used to do that continuously. And I didn't even know for like matter of about 6 months. And I'm like, he was doing better than anyone. And that was one batch, which actually that was my best batch at 7 to 8 very good grapplers and strikers actually. So Clinton was one of the guy in that batch. So Clinton like started doing good and all that, and then he became close. The defining moment was when he had a breakup and he called me at night crying and all that, and I'm like, why this dude is calling me, man? So he hosted a drunk call about how he's feeling and all that. That's Clinton. He's a funny guy. So that's how it is. Then slowly, he started getting in, and there was when Clinton was coming up, we had like something called morning batch and evening batch
Mhm.
in ICS because so there was a lot of friction between these two guys. So whenever I used to tell evening guys, there's one guy named Clinton in the morning. Uh, he's good. He can beat all of you guys. So people got jealous and all that. A lot of things happened. Then we did a inter ICSA competition, which Clinton
Mhm.
won actually. Absolute, he won absolute. So and then he slowly started coming in, and a lot of people actually, to be very frank, a lot of people think Clinton is a grappler. He is a phenomenal grappler, but he is a striker. Like uh, he like the way he has beaten guys in striking game is like they have given up because they are not able to hit him. That's how
Mhm.
quick. That's how he is. So that's how Clinton is. That's how Clinton is. I think I'm really looking forward for like all these guys. Sham, like yeah, thing happened, but I think he will be back. I really think Sham is like not even a great. It's not about he being a great fighter. He's an entertaining fighter. He
Mhm.
speaks to people and he fights. But this with this such a huge rib injury, that was one of the big miscalculation. To be very frank, I usually control the team. When I say don't fight, then don't fight. But usually he actually got injured very bad before the fight,
Mhm.
and I told him, no, fight se main खींच रहा हूँ. But he told like Dubai, this will be the biggest. मेरा career का launch होगा इतना बड़ा, and how can we cancel MFN Dubai में हो रहा है and all that thing. So then he said, okay, don't worry, मैं उसको take down कर लूँगा संजीत को फटक से, because
Mhm.
Sanjit has no ground game. We all know that. So we thought, okay, plan. Suddenly the whole camp is different, and suddenly everything changed. And before the warm up, when I'm doing warm up, when I'm telling him to take down, and he's telling my takedown nahi kar sakta. I have to strike.
Oh.
And striking we did, but I don't know, Sanjit Budwar, I don't know, it was he understood when he fight, or he somehow knew before, because my gym is filled with all the guys all over India. So he was hitting exactly on the rib, 2, 3 shots. Third shot started hurting very bad because it was in a very bad condition. He was not able to do warm up. He was just doing striking. He said striking ही करूंगा मैं. So it was very bad. It was the major miscalculation. But to be very frank, all props to Sanjit Budwar also, because he fought extremely well. He is one of the best featherweight over there. He just has a grappling deficiency. But to be very, very frank, if you remove his grappling deficiency, he is a killer for sure, for sure. But what Sanjit is exactly, the aggressive fighter, is exactly like how Sham is also there. But couldn't show. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back. It happens. It happens.
And so, did you have a talk with Sham after that fight? Like, what was the whole state after the fight?
Um, After the fight, that was one of the moment which was like, uh, it was, to be very frank, I'm not saying with ego, but to be very frank, we are not used to losing. I didn't know what to do here. So he was hurt. Obviously, he was hurt on the rib, but like it was very bad moment. We didn't have internet in Dubai and all that, so we went to hospital and all that, and it was very bad for us. We saw something, what happens in hospital and all that, because to be very frank, we never end up in hospital. We never end up in hospital. I went to hospital and I was thinking this is something. But before that fight, I went with Manjit also, because Manjit lost the fight, right? Manjit something, but uh, it's, I don't know how to say, like over there when Manjit went to hospital, I think 4 or 5 fighters were there with me. So we had the whole team. Here in Dubai, we were all alone. I didn't know what to. To be very frank, I'm a person. If, for example, if I'm going to someone's funeral or something, I don't know what to speak. I just keep my mouth shut. The same here. It was something else. I was filled with rage, too much rage. I just don't know what to do. I was thinking about 2018, 2019, what happened with my team, and this is what I had to see. I lost a guy like Shamanan lost. It was just impossible. And to be very frank, uh, I'm not taking anything away from Sanjit, but to be very frank, I being so all this experience in so many years, I knew it that Shamanand couldn't lose to Sanjit, but he just lost. He just lost. Couldn't take down at all. We couldn't do one takedown over there. It was, if we do the takedown, the match was ours. I know, because the level of grappling of our team is, I just don't want to explain. But then I don't know. And if the camp was all about striking, then we would have tackled Sanjit. But the camp was all about grappling for him. So it didn't go. And also he was striking good, but the hit on the rib only, and a lot of bad thing happened. It was a bad moment. I still remember everything. I still have uh, everything. I still remember everything. That was the worst night, actually, worst night, because we both were alone. We had no one to talk, because there was no internet on the phone and all that, and we had no one to speak to. And but but to be very frank, a lot of people don't know, but when we were in hospital, Aisha Sharaf ma'am, and Alan, the both guys came to hospital to check out the fighters and all that. That is something which we didn't expect, because to be very frank, these are the owners of MFN, and they're coming and checking on the fighters, and that is something which is unexpected. In that moment also, I'm looking, I understand, okay, these guys are doing so much, but you're just not in a mood to speak. You just I was not able to say thank you or anything. I was just not in a mood. I was just not in, we both were not speaking to anyone. Even Jason also joined us. And actually, to be very frank, Jason spoke very good, wise words with Shamanan. Actually, I don't know, he knew it about that. I'm Srikant's coach and he is Srikant's teammate. He didn't know about it, but he was saying, Harjit laga rehta hai. He's a nice guy, actually. And so we saw the positive side of that also, because after the loss, even Sanjeet came. He didn't speak a word. He just shook the hand. He looked at him, and I understood over there. Even Dhruv Chaudhary came. They came and they saw. I've never seen this side at all, because we were continuously winning. We were continuously winning. We didn't know, we didn't see this side, that our opponents are coming. Vikas Ruel came actually. He also shook the hand. They're not saying anything because these fighters, no, they're not good at speaking. Like I said, right, even I'm bad at, I don't know what to speak in funeral. So this guy, Dhruv, Vikas, and Sanjay, Jason spoke well, but these are the guys, they came up, they shook the hand, they just did this and they just went off. I was seeing all this and I was like, ये सब देखने ही नहीं मिला कभी. Never seen. Like probably we had to lose once. We know we understood how it feels. It's fine. It's like I'm not saying that this is the last time. We're gonna lose again because the higher the stage we go, we're gonna lose. But that was the first time something which we experienced. Very frankly.
So obviously there's a lot more to come from Sham. But now another fighter that I want to hear the story about is basically Ajay, because there's a lot
Who?
of Ajay.
Ajay, oh.
So there's a lot of stuff going on between you and Ajay on the Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So what's the whole story behind that, and how did he come to you basically?
He, I don't know when he joined, to be very frank. He's like one rat. He was in my gym all the time. I didn't even, you understand that you have rats in the gym, so he was always there. I didn't even notice. There's one guy who was like, who had like you are a Malayali, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he has this Malayali accent, but he speaks an American accent. I actually thought this guy has gone to US or something. So I was like, you have been to? He's like, I've never been out of Kerala in my whole life. The first question is, how come this accent came? And this guy is like, he was a football player. Something happened over there. Something joined the team. Like he will train. He'll silently go. He'll not run his mouth and all that. He started running his mouth now. So he was like that normal and. I don't know. He is just one ninja. I didn't even understand when he came into the team and all that. I don't even remember his first day. He's so invisible. So he started training and all that. Then I don't even remember when did he got into the fight team. He's such a, there is nothing to remember. Good thing to remember about him. So so he just he's doing good. He is in the fight team and this. Clinton and Ajay are chaddi buddy of the team, and when these both guys are in the same room, it's like we keep on laughing, we keep on recording them. Like me, Shrikant, everyone will be recording the videos. These two guys will go at each other all the time, and if they're getting bored with each other, they'll come at me, or they go at Shrikant or Uma or Anjan or anyone. Matter of fact, so these both guys in the room will be the funniest guys, and. Like yeah, but Ajay is the most aggressive fighter I have. He is one fire. People just don't know. He'll just keep sharing memes and all that. But he has that like proper Malayali, this aggressive Malayali mindset to do or die something. He's into that. He's extremely good fighter. I'm counting on him. I think after Clinton, he's in the same weight. After Clinton, I have Ajay, someone who is like fire. Like he hits one shot, you break your jaw. That's how he is. Like you saw his first fight, first pro fight. He fought with someone like I forgot his name. Very good fighter, Muay Thai guy, and then we tried Muay Thai actually. Fahad. Extremely good fighter. To be very frank, I was very scared because that was the first time in Muay Thai we don't know half of the rule and all that. And he did very good. And Ajay is an excellent grappler also. Excellent grappler. That's how it is. More than excellent, this thing. I think he has the best mic skill in my team. He has to fight a lot of amateur stuff and all that. But the day he enters pro, he will be very good with the mic because he has that natural tendency to speak so well. He can like it's like something not like corner I would say, but the other the other guy cannot speak anything, something like that. He has good mic skill and he is extremely good fighter. Extremely good fighter.
Awesome. Now, one more stage that I want to take you back is before the MSN. Like you guys are competing all over the domestic scene. Like you fought in YFC, IMF, everything. So how was that particular phase like for you and the team?
That was a golden period of us because we were whitewashing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We were whitewashing everywhere. Like we played in Asian Games in Jiu-Jitsu, where all the teams in India, BJJ team, out of 10, I think 7 gold medals were us. So that's how our dominance is. To be very frank, this changed because we fought in Delhi ADCC, and because we were not in the training, so I was not supposed to go. But then on a couple of my senior fighters, they said, "Arey, take some fighters." So I took couple of my fighters who are like not fighters also. That was their first fight and they lost, and that was all on internet. Dash team versus ICSA, and we lost. And people started thinking, oh, ICSA is bad. And I see a couple of guys who are challenging Srikanth, and they're saying, see, see, we are the best team, and ICSA is lost. I'm like, where has this dude not seen 7 or 8 years of ICSA? Where were you? We are mauling people. You see the videos where my guys are raising hand, other guy is sleeping on the stretcher. That's how we fight, and it's not only grappling; it's striking also. You look at Waco, you look at Waco. Whenever we have entered, we have just like we have taken out that that pro champion or whatever he is on continue winning streak. Like Clinton fought one of the guy, which I actually used to follow a lot, and he met him in final. That guy at the end was doing this only. He had nothing to do. Clinton was talking to him and hitting. He just couldn't stop him, and people thought when Clinton came inside, there was in Waco, when we were fighting in Waco, the one of the guy, he has good bad vibe with me and this thing. So he was not allowing to Clinton to fight. Hey, tu to grappler hai. He mauled people. He mauled. He won 5 or 6 people, 5 or 6 fights. He mauled people. And see Clinton and purposely they were doing one fight with 3 minutes break and again he'll enter something like that. We entered, and in that tournament that was some of the crazy stuff. Have you ever heard about champion of champion in kickboxing? Like a lower weight category will fight heavier weight. It only happens in
Uh-huh.
grappling, right? So
Uh-huh.
yeah, in this particular tournament, I there was some bike or something. Bike they have kept. So Clinton and Shamanand won. So then in that particular tournament, uh, they're like champion of champion. Then we were actually wearing a dress and we were going out. We had no interest of winning champion to champion. We won 2 belt. For us, it's
Mm-hmm.
enough. I just wanted to go and hit a beer actually. So me and Clinton. So then this guys, some guys are like, dar gaye kya? And Dargam is that pieces of us like anything. Now I'm thinking at Clinton. Clinton will, and the front fighter is 110 kg guy,
Uh-huh.
and he's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking if I send Clinton, if one he get hit, Clinton is like what flyweight. He is fighting at bantamweight, but he's a flyweight guy. He cuts 1 kg, 2 kgs. He actually in weight cut, he's eating ice cream with me. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how the weight it is. So then I asked Sham, you want to do it or what? And Sham is someone like, Karu kya sir? I said, Karte. Got inside and first round knockout, like knockout, a heavyweight guy, champion of champion. There he won. So this is what it is, and people think he lost in that fight just because of striking. Oh no, no, no! Like one rib attack on the jaw attack is not enough to take out Sham. Sham can take a mayhem on his body. I just don't know how to explain. I just don't want. Actually, to be very frank, I don't want to talk about that. We'll do our thing. Actually, we'll do our thing once we fix everything.
Okay, so one more fighter I wanted to like ask Anjan Raman. Like, is there any plan for him to return to the action?
Oh my god, that guy. Um, I told you, right? 2018, 19, some mess happened
Mm-hmm.
in the team and he was thrown out of the team. And
Mm-hmm.
from there, he declined. He went to different
Mm-hmm.
teams. Nothing happened. Then uh, he was not able to recover, actually, to be very frank. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he came back, he had one small accident in the training and he had injury in his arm. Again, he was out for 1 year. So now, before the corona, he started training. He was like 89 kg or something from
Mm-hmm.
years. So now in the post COVID, he is getting ready. But if this guy, if Anjan comes back to MMA, lightweight will be in like will be a fire. Because I've not seen anyone throwing him one punch, touching and one punch or doing anything. They are like he has been mauling all BJJ grapplers across the country. He has been mauling all of these guys. Like you take any grappler name from any team, he has been mauling them left, right, left, right. He has lost point fights by the way, point fight like
Mm-hmm.
some point fights or something. But I think only in India, only loss he had. I think with Chaitanya with one advantage or something.
Mhm.
But if you go inside and fight him, you just can't. He is like a quicksand. He take you down and he finishes. And people think he's bad in striking. You look at his game. You don't want to strike. You want to keep him outside. And I'm really excited about that guy. And that guy is the most hardworking guy in my team. The most hardworking guy. And I think if he comes in, I would like to see him fight a lot of lightweights actually. So there are so many lightweights. He is like one Khabib. It's like his style is
Mhm.
that take on the ground, keep beating, and this is the guy who doesn't like to finish. He can easily finish. Like in
Mhm.
grappling, he finishes people left, right. But in MMA fight, he somehow he believes in giving the show and keep on beating. He doesn't want to finish because the level of confidence what he has is they cannot escape, they cannot do anything. So it's gonna be exciting. So he is gonna come back. Actually, but the problem is he's 33-year-old. But to be very frank,
Mhm.
he's mauling like my 18 and 23, 24 years old. So I think I don't know. I don't know. I need to talk with MFN. But before that, I wanted to do an amateur fight. Yeah, actually, before the COVID, he fought one amateur fight. I forgot. He
Mhm.
fought one more amateur fight. I told him to fight amateur fight. It was finished in like 8 seconds. He just
Uh-huh.
finished it fast. He finished it.
Okay, I think
He's,
in Mumbai,
yeah.
Maharashtra, right?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Mumbai, Maharashtra. I took 12 fighters and all of them won. So over there, slightly I felt okay, little bit. After the Shamanand loss and all that, I felt little bit okay. We are coming back because after the Shamanand's loss, the to be very frank, there are a lot of things happening in the team also because a lot of young guys. You
Mhm.
tend to get headweight. You tend
Mhm.
to get headweight. Oh, we are the best, and all that. I usually keep calling our team as like number one or best. A lot of people get irritated, but that's what it is. But then from 2018-19, if you see, I don't call my team as number one because I saw that my junior fighters are getting a lot of headweight. Oh, we are
Mhm.
the number one. But then when Shaman lost, uh, I saw the change in all of these guys. They understood that the water over there is very deep, and there are guys who can actually do a lot of things. People started working hard, and the biggest change in the room would be right now Shamanan. He is he is something else. I think second fight he will be ready to die, but he'll just
Mhm.
he is mauling like he's mauling people right now in the uh, I don't know what to say. I'm just expecting him to fight like I don't know anyone, Mayank Kohli if it is grappler, but I would love to have a striker actually next fight because uh, all that frustration has to go in a striking match because he feels that he went out in striking match, not in grappling fight. So he is telling that give me the best striker anyone. Tell them to give any good striker. So I don't know in featherweight who is the best striker. Actually, Sanjit is the best striker. To be very frank,
Mhm.
on paper, Sanjit is the best striker. I don't know, but if it is Mayank, then Mayank it is. I think. Let's see. I don't know.
Okay, now before we close, one more question. I
Yeah.
saw somewhere that you had this plan of going somewhere remote and opening a chai shop after you retire. So is that plan still on?
This thing what I'm doing
Uh-huh.
right because of the COVID. Suddenly it came. I think I'll end up over there only, opening the chai shop.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I'm giving competition to all this Malayali community, but that is something which I want to do. And yeah, but yeah, to be very frank, I hate city. I hate city a
Mhm.
lot, and I always prefer staying in mountains or somewhere like that or remote location. I don't like populated area. So I think if I when I retire, I'll go there. But if this thing happens,
Mhm.
anyway, I'm going there. Because to be very frank, if that thing happens, then I'm not in Bangalore. Because wherever my fight team is there, I'm there. I do not run ICSA for business at all. That's
Mhm.
how it is. So whole idea is to uh, for example, we are successful with this funding and
Mhm.
we are successful in doing this and all that. So in this, if this project is successful, we are going to take a lot of young fighters to verify. Fighters in
Mhm.
the sense, uh, I prefer guys like how Clinton, Ajay,
Mhm.
how they walked in. They had no experience. I prefer that. So I think I'll take a lot of guys and under the sponsorship and all that. And that is the whole idea about this funding also. It's not a commercial center at all.
Mhm.
It is gonna run like a place where they can stay, they can train. We will somehow run it, somehow run it. That's how the whole idea is. But yeah, the
Okay,
chai
cool.
shop is. I'll definitely invite you also, man, if I open the chai shop.
Done. I'm coming. Okay, so thanks a lot, Jidesh, like for taking time out.
Thank
I
you,
know it's Saturday night, I know. So thanks a lot for taking a time out, and
thank you.
all the best for your funding and all the best for the new project. So anything you want to add before we like uh, log off from this?
Uh, I don't know. I've been telling this a lot, to be very frank, and I hope my competitors don't take this my words as a sign of weakness or something. It's not. It's
Mhm.
not, because I think we have done enough. The junior fighters don't know actually. I think
Mhm.
somewhere their coaches don't disclose what was happening 6 7 years back. It's just
Mhm.
hidden. To be very frank, I want to say one thing is all these Indian guys trying to cut each other's head off. Why
Mhm.
don't these guys start competing and taking foreign fighters? Because see, you see it on the internet. Indian fighters are
Mhm.
not respected. That's the truth.
Mhm.
I understand we are not there technically, but I believe it comes with experience. Like if you see Khabib's first fight or if you see Connor's first fight, they're not
Mhm.
fighting like how they're fighting now. So it comes with experience. It comes with with experience. So I really think all these Indian fighters who is trying to take each other's head off, I think they should start focusing on the foreign fighters. Actually, that's what it is. And this way, we can prove a lot. So this is something which I want to say. But if it's like, for example, in my team, like for example, these guys are
Mhm.
challenging us, we'll definitely take them out, because what choice we have. But I really want all of us work together and compete at the world stage, because that's gonna make us grow a lot. Even the see, for example, definitely in the domestic scene also, we need to compete to each other to get better and all
Mhm.
that. I agree, but I should not. I don't agree that two top fighters should, like for example, in Brazil there was a scene where
Mhm.
Anderson Silva and Lyoto Machida was top
Mhm.
in the country, but these were both two different teams, but they had
Mhm.
that much unity. Brazilians had that much
Mhm.
unity that they never competed. And in fact, when Anderson Silva was a champion, Lyoto Machida was competing in different weight. That
Mhm.
much respect they had. So same thing in India. It's like there are guys, like for example, I told Kantaraj and I told
Mhm.
Clinton also, like if
Mhm.
Kantaraj is going this in this promotion, Clinton will go in different promotion, because I do
Mhm.
not want them to face, because I want always them, because these guys too training together will help them a lot to grow. That's how it is. So I think similarly Indian fighters can do it. If they can do it, if they want to kill each other's head, then what choice we have? It's like कोई घर पे attack करे तो हम तो करेंगे ऐसा. So
Mhm.
that is the one thing. And second thing is, you are doing an excellent job. Indian MMA media has gone to some other level just because of locker room. Okay, so you're doing an excellent job, and keep it up, man. Keep it up. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jitesh, for those words. And once again, thanks for coming on to this interview series that we are doing. And once again, all the best for the project, and looking forward to seeing you guys back.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thanks.